Hello, my name is Mathias and welcome to the FPL Scope and the weekly wildcard draft for Gameweek 8. I know a lot of people are looking to wildcard this game week because people are pretty sick and tired of seeing their same stupid players pretty much underperform each and every game week. A lot of people are still with double Man United midfielders, Bruno and Rashford. That's not going too well. And Buemo's looking way worse, or at least Brentford looking way worse. So he is someone a lot of people are looking to sell. Chelsea players in general, whether you have Chilwell still, Sterling, Nick Jackson, all those guys are pretty popular players to sell. Even Purvis Stepinian is someone that is not looking as good currently and might actually drop out of the weekly wildcard drafts for the first time so far. Because, yeah, this is a segment that I do every single week. I do a wildcard draft every week, as you can see from the title. And I compare and contrast from one game week to the next what I would do differently in Game Week 8 compared to what I did in Game Week 7 on my weekly wildcard draft. Personally, I haven't wildcarded yet myself. I do have a pretty poor team this game week. I had 35 points, I think, which you'll see from the team selection video on Friday. But my team is pretty well set up for the future. I do have Salah. I already brought in Diaby and Son now for this game week. So I feel like I'm in pretty decent shape, at least personally. But if you are wildcarding, this is the video for you because I'm going to present to you my favorite wildcard currently in FPL. So yeah, without further ado, let's go on to the number one pick, which is for the first time this season not Erling Braut Haaland. It is Heung-min Son, because yeah, he plays as a striker now for Spurs. Even with Richarlison was playing on the left and Son was playing through the middle. He looked really dangerous, scored a goal against Liverpool, had another goal disallowed for offside. Pretty poor run from the winger. Can't remember exactly who was passed through by Madison, but Son looks absolutely essential currently, because especially with the two next fixtures, Luton away and Fulham at home, he's going to be potentially the best captaincy option in both of those game weeks. So I think he's currently the must-have player to own. That might be a weird sentence, but whatever. He is pretty much the most important player to have in FPL going forward. And yeah, he plays as the striker for one of the best attacking teams in the league with two fantastic fixtures. You can't really ask for much better than Luton away and Fulham at home. Those are really good fixtures. So yeah, Heung-min Son gets the number one spot. He was number 3 last week, and now he's number 1. Finally, not Erling Haaland, who doesn't even make number 2 in this list, because that is Mohamed Salah. And that's basically down to Salah's fixtures. Like I said, with captaincy, the next 2 game weeks might be Son's time to shine as a captain. But after that, it is probably going to be Salah who's going to be mostly the captain that you use in FPL. As you can see, he has Nottingham Forest in game week, game week 10. And then he has Luton in game week 11. Really good game weeks for Salah. And yeah, I think Salah is just someone that you also need to have on a wildcard. He did blank, I guess, this past game week because he had a goal disallowed. We all know what goal we're talking about. The pass through to Diaz. Salah's just in general been a really good assister of the ball so far this season. I still think he's going to get into some sort of like goal scoring purple patch as well at some point this season. It is Salah. He is someone that really likes to score goals. I know he has put more of an emphasis on assists this season. He's kind of showing that side of his game as well. He's pretty much been the best playmaker in the whole league so far this season. And yeah, he just keeps surprising everyone really with how good he is. He is still criminally underrated in my view, especially if you look at like past like Ballon d'Ors and stuff, how like far away he's been from number 1 pretty much every single season. I don't really know how it makes sense, but yeah, Salah is an amazing footballer. He's showing that in more ways than one, more than just goal scoring, but I think the goal scoring is going to come eventually as well. So yeah, if you're on a wildcard, definitely bring him in. If you're not on a wildcard, you should look into how to get him, whether you are going to wildcard eventually or if you have already wildcarded. You should try to get money to get Salah into your team because yeah, he is that important really, and that's why he's number 2 behind Son this time rather than behind Holland. But speaking of Holland, he has not dropped out of the team. I'm not one of those crazy ass guys who go without Holland and think that he's not worth having because yeah, he has sort of like underperformed, but still he is 1 point behind Watkins for the top forward in the game so far. And considering he has had that many chances and missed so many chances that he usually scores, he should be probably like 10-15 points ahead of every single forward in the game. And yeah, he's still a great pick, even though the next 3 fixtures maybe not the best for For captaincy, you could make an argument that both Brighton and Man United are so bad defensively currently that he's still the best captaincy option in those game weeks as well. So yeah, he's still a really good pick. It's just the fact that I think Son and Salah are slightly, ever so slightly more important currently. But personally, I would go without none of these three in any wildcard. And the same can be said for number 4, Moussa Diaby, who is obviously a lot cheaper than those other 3 guys. He is only 6.6, 6.7 or something right now in FPL. And yeah, he comes in as the number 4 pick once again, as he was last week when I did the weekly wildcard draft for Gameweek 7. And yeah, you can see from the fixtures, he has really good fixtures, and he has just been performing consistently throughout this whole season. Aston Villa have been performing pretty much consistently this whole season as well, at least offensively. And Diaby seems like the most important player to have there. I think you have Watkins, who is a bit more expensive. I think Diaby is also more consistent. Watkins did have the major game week now in Game Week 7, but I think Diaby is, for the price and yeah, for everything else, I think he is the best pick from Aston Villa, and yeah, the 4th best pick in the game currently, in my opinion. He's just an amazing player. I really wish I had him from Game Week 1. It would have helped me so much in terms of FPL, in terms of points, because I had Eze instead. Switched over to Sterling in Game Week 3, or Game Week 4 even. Yeah, Game Week 4 after his big haul, and Sterling has just blanked ever since. And Diaby has just consistently bringing the points in for Aston Villa in tougher fixtures, and now they get easier fixtures. So easiest thing in the world to jump on Diaby, especially on a wildcard. But even if you're not on the wildcard, you should look into bringing Diaby in for this game week, because he is really important going forward. Wolves away, I think that is a fantastic fixture as well. I think Wolves are kind of tough to judge, because they've been playing really well against the better sides, like against Man United. They should have won. Against Liverpool, they had a really good first half, and then against City, they actually beat Man City. So yeah, Wolverhampton is a weird fixture, but I think it's still a really good fixture for Aston Villa. So I think Diaby could easily score in that game, and then West Ham could score in that game as well. You know, West Ham is a tougher fixture, but then Luton and then Nottingham Forest, the fixtures that you want to see if you have a player in FPL. And then the next player is another Aston Villa player, and that is Mathias. He has jumped all the way up from number 10 in last week's weekly wildcard draft, and that's because he got another assist, and it looks like he's going to just keep playing consistently as a right wing player, potentially, sometimes right wing back, sometimes right wing. He's really offensively minded and got an assist as well. Moreno is also like struggling to get back into fitness and back into the team, so that doesn't affect Cash so far. And yeah, I think Cash is just the best defensive pick currently, because yeah, if you look at the fixtures, defensively you can expect a couple of clean sheets there, and I think Cash can provide some attacking returns as well. So the best of both worlds, really. You have a goal threat. Cash has the best XG for any defender in the game so far, and Aston Villa's fixtures just tell you that you need to have at least 2 players from Aston Villa, I think, currently in your FPL squad. And Cash, for me, is ever so slightly behind Diaby, the second best option from Aston Villa, in my opinion. Next up, we have number 6, and that is James Madison. He has actually dropped down 1 spot since even though he played Liverpool last game week, and now has the great fixtures. It's just the fact that I'm looking into, like, after the 2 next fixtures, I think doubling up on Spurs is kind of a bit too much, considering they face pretty decent defensive sides in Crystal Palace and Chelsea. But for now, for the next 2 game weeks, I think Madison is someone that you should have in your team. I'll get into what I would do eventually. When I get to the end of this video, I'll talk more about what I would do if I did this wildcard draft, and yeah, what I would proceed to do in game weeks 9, 10, 11, for example, going forward. But yeah, Madison for the next 2 fixtures should be really, really, really good value. Luton and Fulham, you can expect Spurs to score 2 or 3 goals at least in both those games. So yeah, I would really want to have Madison for those games. I have thought about maybe including another Tottenham defender, but for now I only have 1 defender, and that is Destiny Udogie. He also makes the team. Tripling up on Spurs seems like the best way to go forward. They have impressed a lot, even against tougher opponents like Arsenal and Liverpool. And now with the easier fixtures, especially defensively minded fixtures, Udogie seems like a great option. He might even be ahead of Madison in the pecking order, in my opinion. It's pretty close between them in who I prefer, because I think Udogie is a better long-term hold. Because the likes of Crystal Palace and Chelsea, even though they are pretty good defensive sides, they're not the best going forward, especially Crystal Palace now without Eberechi Esse as well. They're going to struggle to score. So I think Udogie's next 4 fixtures are really good defensively as well, even better than what it is for Madison offensively. So Udogie, Again, a really good attacking threat, not quite as much attacking threat as Cash, and not quite as good fixtures as Cash going forward for the foreseeable future. So that's why he's behind Cash, but he is not that far behind because he is really offensively minded, and I think he still has some more goals and assists in him than what he has shown so far. But so far, so good from Udogie, and yeah, he can just push on and still be a really good value pick in defense. And yeah, you could go for Pedro Porro here as well. Obviously, I have 3 Spurs players already, so Porro has not made this team. He is a really close consideration for this team, but he is still slightly more expensive than Udogie, and that's why I sort of prefer Udogie. And Udogie has just been someone that I've had since Gameweek 1, and personally, I would like to keep him myself. And yeah, I'm just really happy about that pick from the start of the season. So yeah, Udogie makes it slightly ahead of Pedro Porro, but if you want to have a differential player and you have the money to spare, I probably would go with Porro myself if I was on a wildcard. But for now, Udogie keeps his spot and is the number 7 pick in this weekly wildcard draft. Number 8 is another new player, or the first new player actually, I should say, in this squad, and that is Alder Watkins. Not surprisingly, after the 23 points or 26 points or whatever he had in in game week 7, 2 goals, or what was it, 3 goals and 2 assists, 5 goal returns for Watkins in a on paper tough match against Brighton. 6-1, really shocking result there, and really surprising Watkins return there as well. I do think though Watkins, I don't think he's the most explosive player. That's what we know from last season at least. He scored pretty consistently, like 1 goal every single game. A couple of bonus points here and there as well. So he is a really consistent and good player, and that's why he's in the team. And obviously the Aston Villa fixtures are really, really good starting this game week and moving forward. So yeah, I think Watkins is a really safe pick. If you want to go for like a safe attacker that's going to return pretty much every single game week, because that's what Watkins has done so far. He was pretty consistent at the start of the season, and now he had this explosion with points. And that's kind of what I was hoping was going to happen with Salah, because I have had Salah from game week 1. I have not had Watkins at all this season. But instead it will happen with Watkins. He got that explosion, and that leads to a lot of players bringing him in to their squads. We've seen this all season, basically, with Son getting his big haul and everyone buying him, Sterling getting his big haul, everyone buying him. It pretty much happens every single time someone has like a big score, and this time it is Ollie Watkins. But I'll have some more like other potential suggestions as a striker pair or trio as I'm going to have in this squad rather than Watkins, because I think Watkins, he can explode in certain games, but I don't know, he is kind of inconsistent, especially as a finisher. You know, he gets consistent returns, he has like inconsistent finishing and stuff. So yeah, I'm not like super entirely sold that you need to have Watkins in every single wildcard, but he is currently looking like a really, really good player. So he comes in at number 8 for this weekly wildcard draft. Number 9 is another striker, and it is Julian Alvarez. He did score a free kick, a really nice free kick as well, but I still have a lot of faith in Alvarez. I still think he's going to be playing pretty much every single game with Kevin De Bruyne out until 2024. So I think Alvarez is a really good pick to have. And I think Man City, even though they might struggle a bit now without Rodri especially, and especially with like their slightly like weaker squad compared to last season, I think they're going to struggle more at this point of the season. I know people have like anointed them as like the future champions. They're going to four-peat for sure, but I'm not in that mindset at all. But I still think they are a really good team and can beat every single team that they play against, even against Arsenal away. Their toughest fixture of the whole season is coming up now in the next game week. You could potentially bench Alvarez for that fixture, but I still think he is a decent play in that fixture even. But yeah, after that as well, Brighton and Man United, like I said with Holland, Spurs, Man City can easily score a couple goals in that game as well. And then Bournemouth at home after that, and some okay-ish fixtures after that. But yeah, the fixtures aren't the best for Man City, so maybe you could drop out Alvarez. There are some other striker options that I'll talk about at the end of this video, like I said. But for now, keeps his place. He's still on set pieces for Man City, even more so if Foden has to be benched, which I think is going to happen more and more going forward. So yeah, Alvarez, he's also another like cheat code just in case Holland needs a rest. Alvarez is going to play up front, and that's going to lead to even more points for him. So I still have a lot of faith in Alvarez. He has done really well for me in FPL so far, and that's why I still have him in this weekly wildcard draft, even though there are some other decent options that I'll get to eventually. Number 10, we have Alphonso Areola. He is pretty much just like the standard goalkeeper to have in FPL right now. and I think he deserves the number 10 spot. He has always been like pretty low on this weekly wildcard draft segment, but yeah, he climbs a bit because he is pretty much a consistent player in every single one of my wildcard drafts or projected wildcard drafts. Because yeah, he is still really cheap, even though his price is going up and up. He is pretty close to being a 4.5 goalkeeper again soon, but he's 4.2 as of this recording. He is going to go up to 4.3 pretty soon, but still really good value for a West Ham team that will get really good fixtures after the next two at least. Newcastle at home and Aston Villa away, not the best fixtures, but after that Areola has really good fixtures, and yeah, he's the cheapest option. And for goalkeepers haven't really impressed at all this season. Areola has been one of the few goalkeepers that have looked good, and considering he's so cheap and you don't really want to spend any money on your goalkeepers, he makes sense as the number one goalkeeper so far or going forward in FPL. Number 11 we have Dan Burn, trying to squeeze out the final bit of juice from the Newcastle defense, sort of like good fixture run. I haven't had Trippier myself in my own team, and I don't have him in the wildcard draft either, because I still think that he's not going to return like this every single game week. He had a pretty lucky assist this time around, but yeah, Trippier is still obviously a really good pick, but I feel like with Son, Salah, Holland, Watkins in this draft as well, Madison as well, Alvarez, there's just too much money spent on other players for me to have Trippier in the team. So Burn will have to do for the next 2 game weeks at least. Maybe beyond that as well, but yeah, I have some plans for the future with this wildcard draft as well that I'll get to. But for now, Dan Burn is going to be a decent player. He scored a goal not too long ago in that Sheffield United game, and yeah, Newcastle, as we know, are really good defensively. They are likely to keep clean sheets when they face easy opposition, and that's what they're going to do going forward. So Burn seems like a pretty good pick as well. He's picked slightly ahead of Gabriel Magalhaes, who is more of a rotation risk, even though Burn is not completely rotation risk free either. But Gabriel, still, we don't really know what's going to happen with Thomas Partey coming back in. But I think Arteta has to realize that Gabriel is a pretty pivotal player to his team. So I think Gabriel is going to play pretty much every game week going forward, even though they have Partey back. They also have Zinchenko back compared to the start of the season where they didn't have that inverted fullback on the left, so they had to do it from the right with Partey instead, which meant that Gabriel dropped out. But I think Gabriel is going to be pretty nailed in the Arsenal team going forward. He's going to play maybe 2 out of 3 games at least. Hopefully those games are the ones against Sheffield United, which is like the best fixture in his next 4. Just not the best fixtures going forward, but he is someone you can stash on your bench. And he's only 4.7 now as well, which is really cheap for a player of Gabriel's caliber. Like, if he plays every single game week, we know the clean sheet potential Arsenal have, and then the goal threat that Arsenal have, or Gabriel especially from set pieces has as well, is really, really, really good. That's why a lot of people wanted him from game week 1 onwards, because yeah, it looked like he was going to be nailed and going to be a really attacking defender. Now it seems like he is going to be nailed, actually, pretty nailed at least. And he is even cheaper than 5.0, so and they're going to have some pretty good fixtures, especially from Game Week 10 onwards. So yeah, Gabriel makes this squad as well as the number 12 pick. Then we have number 13, and that is Jared Brantwaite. I think he is the best 4.0 option currently. Kabore has come and gone with his double game week. Only 3 points on the double game week for Kabore after scoring 5 points the week before when I benched him. Kind of annoyed by that myself, but yeah, I think Brantwaite is the best 4.0 defender. He's playing pretty much every game week now for Everton, and he's also especially handy for this wildcard draft because he's going to play in this upcoming game week, because I think both Burn and Gabriel are players you could bench for this game week. So having Brantwaite at home to Bournemouth seems like a really good deal, and might help you get a clean sheet. But as we know with Everton, they don't really keep clean sheets, but who knows? Maybe it will happen this time. And Brantwaite has also showed some decent attacking threat back in the Dutch league as well when he played for PSV on loan last season. So yeah, I know Tarkowski has been like the main guy offensively, and obviously Tarkowski has even more goal threat, but Brantwaite is cheaper, and yeah, we want the cheapest possible defender that is still pretty decent, and that is for me Jared Brantwaite as the number 13th pick. Then with the 14th pick, we have Turner still in goal. He still is the number 1 goalkeeper for Nottingham Forest. He did a pretty poor job trying to save the header from was it Nørgaard? Christian Nørgaard? Yeah, Nørgaard from Brentford. So maybe he will be dropped now finally for Vladic Chomos, or whatever his name is, the new goalkeeper from Benfica that Nottingham Forest have. So yeah, he is a bit of a risk in terms of that, but Turner is still 4.0 in this in FPL. That is the cheapest possible goalkeeper you can have, and there are no other starting goalkeepers for that price, especially now that Areola has gone up in price. So yeah, Turner is still like the best potential backup goalkeeper to have in this game, but I do feel like he's going to be benched pretty soon. But hopefully he can keep his place at least until the Luton game, because it would be much nicer to have Turner against both Crystal Palace and Luton, to be honest, the next 2 game weeks before Areola gets those easy fixtures. So hopefully Turner can keep his place for 2 more game weeks, but if not, we can still play Areola and pay basically nothing for our goalkeepers and still have a decent chance for clean sheets and stuff. So yeah, Turner comes in as the number 2 goalkeeper and the number 14 pick. And then as the number 15 pick, we have another cheap midfielder we have a cheap midfielder to fulfill the team. Don't really have any budget left, so we were going with Anderson for Newcastle. Played really well in the preseason and got a lot of goals and assists and got some hype. Didn't really get much playing time at the start of the season, but now, as the season has gone on, Tonali has not really played that well for Newcastle so far. And Anderson has actually played the last few games, and for, I think it's 4.4 or 4.5 currently. That's really good value for someone that you should probably just stash on your bench most game weeks, because we have a really stacked team otherwise with this squad. So yeah, that's pretty much the wildcard squad. And as you can see, we have 5 new players: Burn, Gabriel, Branthwaite, Anderson, and Alder Watkins. That means 5 players have dropped out as well, and we have to talk a little bit about those players as well. So basically, we have Botman, who is injured. That's why he has been dropped out, and Burn has replaced him. We do have Perez Estepinian dropping out of the weekly wildcard draft for the first time this season on the back of a -2 performance where he played really badly and conceded an own goal as well at the same time. -2 points for Estepinian. He has 2 pretty difficult fixtures now in the next 2 game weeks. But after that, I would be looking to bring him in as well. I'd be looking to sell Madison for Bowen in Game Week 10 and sell Burn as well for Estepinian. That's probably what I would do with the squad, but for now, Estepinian has to drop out. I guess he has to be punished a bit for his really weak performance last game week. He was subbed off at the half as well with Lamptey coming in. Lamptey has actually looked really good as a left wing back as well for Brighton, so maybe Estepinian is not 100% sure as the starter for Brighton anymore either. So we'll have to monitor that for the next 2 game weeks, but I think Estepinian is going to be back in the weekly wildcard drafts sooner rather than later, and he would probably be back into my team as well if I wildcarded him out this game week. So personally, I'm pretty content with holding him in my own team where I'm not wildcarding, but if you're on a wildcard, I get why people are selling him now, especially seeing as he had that terrible performance last time around. But yeah, I would have a plan to bring him back into the team, because if he plays and starts regularly and Brighton have good fixtures, he is going to be the best value defender in the game, in my opinion. Then we have Issa Kabore, who is not going to be the best value defender in the game. Luton, he was basically in the wildcard squad because Luton had a double game week fixture, or double game weeks. What am I saying? Double game week. Yeah, they had a double game week in Game Week 7. And Kabore got 3 points from those 2 games. So yeah, he's not worth it anymore. I think Braithwaite is just better value. Then we have Cameron Archer, who drops out because we have a 3-4-3 formation or 4-3-3 formation some game weeks, I guess. So yeah, Archer drops out. I still think Archer is really good value, but we want to go with 3 strikers or 3 forwards this time around, so Archer drops out. And then finally we have Ward-Prowse, who I basically had on the weekly wildcard draft last week because he played against Sheffield United at home. Didn't really get any attacking returns. He did get a bonus point though, even though he didn't get any attacking returns in a 2-0 win, so that tells you something about his chance creation. He had the best expected goal numbers as well from West Ham in that game, so pretty unlucky not to get any returns in that game, but that was pretty much the reason I had him in the wildcard draft as well, because he was such good value in that game against Sheffield United. But like I said, I'd rather look to get in Jared Bowen for Game Week 10, where I would probably sell Madison for Bowen and then sell Burn for Estepinian. So that would be my plan for Game Week 10. And beyond that, you could do a lot of different things with this wildcard squad. But all in all, I think this wildcard squad is pretty good. That's why I have picked it and presented it for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to make another weekly wildcard draft squad next week for Game Week 9, and then Game Week 10, Game Week 11. Every single week I'll do like a wildcard squad for all of you guys that haven't wildcarded yet, which is going to include me, because I'm probably going to keep my wildcard until there is some kind of danger, or like if there is some kind of emergency and I need to use it, or I would just save it until Game Week 19, where I can load up on City players after they're blank and before their potential double Game Week in Game Week 20. So yeah, that's my idea for my own wildcard personally, but I totally get why people are using the wildcard right now, and all these players are pretty good for the foreseeable future. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, hope you enjoy this channel, and I hope you subscribe. And with that, I'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.